All right, Emmanuel nKHOMA here from the African Institute of Leadership and Governance. I hope that you guys are doing well, and I hope that you are having a great time. It's been quite some time and challenging for us in South Africa to come to you on the scheduled time. So today I came into our office and our studio to do this session. And I hope that it's going to help you to understand communication in leadership. I hope that it's going to help you understand communication in leadership. Communication in leadership is very key, and communication in leadership is very important. Most of the times, we fail to understand what communication is. Why do we fail to understand what communication is? It's because all of us, starting from the time you are young to the time you are old, we all talk. Starting from the time you are young, the time we, when a person dies, before a person dies, when a person is very sick, you see the family go to them and try to talk to them. And then they say, hey, he's not even talking. He's not even talking. Once they say he's not even talking, then they begin to lose hope. What does that mean? It means that he's not communicating. Babies, they know how to communicate. Well, I've been a parent for some few years, and I will use my personal experience as a parent as we start this lecture just to kickstart and to show us what communication could be like and how do leaders ought to communicate. Well, when I had my first kid, I was quite young, and my wife was quite young when we had our first child. And so there were times that the child would be crying at the night. The child would wake up and cry at night, and we didn't know what to do because we didn't know what the child is doing. We don't know what is penning. Is there something penning? Is there something not penning? But we realized that through that, the child was communicating something. Imagine that kids can communicate through crying, so that is also part of the ways that kids are communicating, and they're trying to relay a message. Now, if a baby can communicate, what more of a leader? What more of a leader? Maybe you're a business personnel. Maybe you're a manager. Maybe you are a farm leader. You must understand what communication is. So let me do a quick screen sharing, and we'll try by all means to be on point in the next few minutes so that we can finish on time. And we are also recording this session for the sake of those that misses the morning sessions. I've been struggling to have sessions in the evenings, more especially the fact that Dr. Manono is operating from Cape Town now, and my good friend Thabo van Wyk operating from Pretoria, and Dr. Herman Bamata operating from the university, and he keeps moving up and down. So it's been difficult with us to just relate everything on time. Why? Because of load shedding, which keeps on affecting all of us, and we don't know what to do at some time. So today we're going to look at leadership communication. And in leadership communication, there are a few things that I always talk about when we talk about types of communication, what communication is, what we ought to understand in communication, methodologies of communication. Of course, there are many ways that we can talk about. So in this lecture, remember, I said message and people. Communication, it has to do on how you relate a message to people, how you relay a message to people, how you get, let's remember, how you get raw data into processed data, right? And how you deliver this processed data into people so that it is it is well enhanced. We also have to look at what skills do you need to have in terms of issues of communication. What skills do you ought to have? So you need to understand that skills are very key and skills are very important. All right, Mubanga. Yes, I see Eileen Mubanga. All right, from the Swain women. Thank you. We hope we're going to repeat this session tonight for the ladies from Swain. But those that are not going to get it, we'll give them handouts and all that. So thank you. All right, others are going to follow this thing later. All right, so then we have to look at what's the connection that is there. What's the connection? What skills? What's connection? What's the connection? We need to discuss on all those things. We need also to look at communication can be done in discussions, how people exchange and share information, how people exchange and share information. So all that can be summed up in communication. Also, we've got what we call media communication. Remember, media communication can be a threefold. Okay, media communication can be a threefold. When we talk about media, in this case, in this thing, remember the word media comes from the word medium, or a medium, meaning a bridge, the medium, which is a bridge. Okay, what bridge do we use? So in terms of media, these days we have got all types of media, We've got telemedia, we've got social media, we've got print media. These are methodologies of communications or mediums of communication. Let me get again. We've got all kinds of medias. Let me try to be very slow so you can get everything. Those of you are writing. Okay, let's go into the original or the first one. Of course, remember when we needed to communicate in the village, in the Chinese methodology, they used a gong. It's got like a metal and a ball thing, and then gong, gong, gong. Then they knew they are trying to communicate something. They knew they're trying to communicate something. Pardon for a coffee. Okay, so they knew they needed to communicate something. So you're gonna go with a gong, gong, gong. So that was a medium of communication. From there, it came to written communication, which is in all those years. Remember, we did letters. I remember, when we are young, we are taught how to write letters in school. Written communication, where you do letters. And the post office was a very big thing. We needed to be trained on how to do a telegram. You remember that time? You do a telegram, of course, that was medium of communication. So we had to learn on how to write. Secretaries needed to learn how to type as a typist. There was a qualification for a typist. So with that was part of communication. And then we came into telephone. Remember, we said telegram. Now we're on telephone, where we can go now on voice communication, where you go up and you pick up a telephone and go grrr, and then you remember those dial-ups. You remember that time. And then we moved from telecommunication, and now we are on to all kind of medias that we can use. The list goes on. Today, we can talk about print media, where we talk about billboards, we talk about newspapers, we talk about books, we talk about all kinds of things. Then we have moved now, we are into the advent of social media. Now, social media, you know what is happening. Everybody can be on social media 24/7. Today, we can come to you and have a class using all kinds of medium communication. Right now, I'm using Zoom, which can link us from all kinds of platforms. We've got what we call Google Classrooms. We've got Fronja. We've got Twitch. I remember when we were using Twitch for our studies, our students, in particularly at the time of COVID. Others were struggling because Twitch is an American version of communication mostly. It's not yet very common in Africa. I'm sure it's going to be common soon. But we've got Twitch, we've got Twitter, we've got all kinds of communications that we are using just to relay a message. A president now doesn't have to have a lot of people to do communication. And look, When we talk about social media, it travels faster than traditional media. These days, even the president sits or the prime minister sits to listen to what social media is saying. So it's very important. Let's therefore begin to do definition. All right, Mubanga, I hope you are there. And those of you who will follow later, I hope you are there. Let's look at what is communication, right? According to Marilyn Doughton and Ellen D. Zille, who are scholars and researchers at the Harvard School of Business, defines communication as, listen to this, define communication as communication equals to the process by which people interactively create and sustain and manage meaning. Create a process in which people, the process by which people interactively create, sustain, and manage meaning. And that is communication. They manage meaning. How do we get a meaning out of this without losing a meaning? All right. How do we get a meaning without losing a meaning? I'm going to get there shortly. So we want to just understand that. So let's look at, there are three types of theories of communication. There are three types of theories of communication. Number one, it's called the common sense theory. The common sense theory. I'm sure most of us, we have used this word. This is common sense. So common sense, the common sense theory. A common sense theory created by an individual's own personal experience. A common sense theory is created by an individual's personal experience. How a person has been able to relate with things and do things, so they develop a certain pattern of communication. They develop a certain pattern of communication, and that is considered as the common sense theory. The common sense theory. So I want you to understand on that. All right, let's continue and look at the next one. Let's look at the next one. Okay, B. All right, B. What is B saying to us? Let me see quickly. Okay, sorry. So B, useful to us and often a basis for our discussions about how to communicate. So this type of communication that we are talking about is the one that a person finds it to be useful. It says this is useful to us, but it's also can be used for, it's useful to us, but the basis of our discussion, how to communicate. So this time we are looking at what's the basis and how have we learned on how to communicate. That's how, on the first one, the common sense theory. Let's go to the next one. Number two, it's called the working theory. The working theory. In communication, there is what we call the working theory. And at this particular time, I want you to understand that the working theory, generalization made in a particular profession about the best techniques for doing something. Now, the working theory, let me say it this way. This is a generalization made in a particular profession about the best techniques for doing something. Now, in this particular case, I want you to understand that when we talk about the working theory, it simply means a profession has developed a certain model of communication, and they have developed a system. So it can be at a place of work, it can be in your organization, it can be in your business. You can develop a particular system of communication specifically to that profession. For example, in the security wings, in those years, you find the people working with us, talkman, you know, they want the talkman, you push and stop. And the language they will use, say, Roger, Roger, over. Then another one will say, oh, Roger, Roger, over. And Alpha Romeo, what. They are speaking and they are communicating. If you're a layman, you not understand. The same thing, you may be a medical doctor, you may be, there is technical communication that is developed in a system. Well, married people have got technical communication that the working theory here, married people, you find that husband and wife, they are seated and they're just seated quietly and they want to run away from a meeting, please. They just look at each other, husband and wife, and they know what they are saying to each other. While as others, they don't know. So that is called a working theory. It's a working theory developed. Okay, this is developed for particular professions. Now, particular professions, in this case, you must understand that each profession has got a way in which they have got a way in which they develop. So if you want to succeed, and I want to say this quickly, if you want to succeed in business and you want to succeed in your leadership, have a working theory in practice in terms of communication. For example, build up a system like, okay, here we are not going to use WhatsApp, we're going to use Messenger. Here we're not going to use Messenger, we're going to use what's Telegram. Here we're not going to use Telegram, we're going to use Signal. So you develop a system, and those systems, they help. Okay, so it's called a working theory. Then number 3 is called a scholarly theory, and the scholarly theory, this is usually used in our institutions of higher learning and also used for professionals, more especially in the academic circles. The theory has undergone systematic research. So now, this simply means you have developed a system of communication which you have researched on, and you have proved that this is what works for you, and this is what works for your organization. It's called a scholarly theory. It is when a system, you have developed this system and you have allowed it to go through processes, and the processes have gone through research. It has been researched and proven that this works. B, scholarly theory provides more thorough, accurate, and abstract information, abstract explanations for communication. Why? Because it has gone through research. They are often more complex and difficult to understand. Now, scholarly theory, I was listening to the president of Zambia the other day when he was explaining at a media briefing, and he was talking on graphs. He brought in graphs, in fact, and then he was trying to narrate that. And then another priest came up and then just shut down that. And then the president, I think, again, the president responded shooting down the priest. Then I was like, how? These two leaders, are they failing to understand something here? So when you are, for example, coming and I bring out graphs, I bring out diagrams, I bring out calculations as a medium of communication, listen to this. That type of communication is the best to bring out accurate information, because it's self-explanatory. It is self-explanatory, but the truth of the matter is that they are often more complex and difficult to understand. So a lay person does not easily understand when it comes to scholarly theory. A working theory, they can understand. A common sense theory, they can understand. But when it comes to scholarly theory, it is often more complex. Why? Because you have to bring out data. You have to bring out statistics. You have to bring out information that has been founded. And as you are doing that, as you demonstrate, people end up getting lost into a system. All right, let's move forward. Okay, let's move forward. Now, I'm on the next slide on my side. Okay, let's look at why is communication important in leadership? Why is communication important in leadership? Let's understand this, guys. If you want to be an effective leader, you need to excel in communication. In fact, the success of your business relies on it. Now, I've said this thing, the success of every business depends totally on how you communicate. Because it's through communication you have got marketing. It's through communication that you can sell your product. It's through communication that people can know about you. So how you do it is very key. So a leader is someone who inspires positive incremental change, positive incremental change by empowering those around them to work towards a common objectives. Now, how do you do that? A leader's most powerful tool for doing so is communication. The leader's most powerful tool is communication. So don't take communication for granted as leaders. So communication is very key. If you want to succeed, communication is very key. Let's look at the essentials of communication skills for leaders. Essentials for communication skills for leaders. I want us to go through this by understanding essentials for communication skills for leaders. When we understand essentials for communication for leaders, you will appreciate at this particular time that, just like as I've said at the beginning, that leaders must learn how to communicate. Leaders must learn how to communicate. But I want us to also look at essentials. Now, I want us to look at essentials, and I'll do a bit of a recap as we will be wrapping up. Before we wrap up, I'll do a recap. All right. So let's move forward. Number one, ability to adapt your communication style. Now, ability to adapt your communication style. Now, I don't know how you communicate, more especially information that is technical. Yes, Walia Chama, thank you. Let me mute you because we are already at the middle of the thing. Thank you, man. Thank you for coming. All right. Ability to adapt communication style. Now, every leader has got a way he or she communicates. Every leader has got a way he or she communicates. Different communication styles are the most frequently cited cause of poor communication. According to the Economist Intelligence Unit, this is an Economist Intelligence Unit of the USA, okay, and can it says, wait, it says, and can lead to more, okay, can lead to more significant issues. Okay, it was supposed to say to read, according to can lead, not and. I did not need to have an and there. Can lead to more significant issues such as unclear priorities and increased stress. Now, remember, when you have many types of communication, many styles of communication, today you are communicating this way, the other day you're using a different method. These can bring a lot of stress. Okay, let's move forward. It's essential to identify your leadership style. It's essential to identify your leadership style so that you can better understand how you're interacting with and perceived by employees across the organization. Let me state that again. It's essential to identify your leadership style so that you can better understand how you are interacting with and perceived by employees across the organization. Now, at this point in time, we use the word employees, but we can also use subordinates. We can use also your peers, how you are understood. So adopt your communication style. It's very important to understand. For example, if you are an authoritative leader, remember we talked about types of leadership the other day. If you are an authoritative leader, you are likely to have a clear vision for achieving success and align your team accordingly. While an effective approach for some, it might fall flat for others who seek more autonomy in their role. What do I mean? Let me explain. If you are an authoritative leader, you have a sense of agency and a sense of action. So you are a bit commanding, whilst there are those who are your subordinates or those you're working with who believe in a democratic kind of leadership or autonomy. They may feel you overstep and you are overpowering. So they may not be able to understand you. So remember, versatility in leadership helps you to change and switch roles, more specifically when you do communication. Every employee's motivations are different. So knowing how you tailor your communication is essential to influencing others and reaching your organizational goals. Let me say that. Remember, what motivates your employees is different. Everyone is motivated differently. So if you're doing business, you must know it is a different methodology that you have to use. So it is important that you tailor your communication. You tailor your communication. You have to tailor your communication based on a few things. Number one, and I just want to give you a bonus on this. If you're writing, please write this down. When tailoring your communication, number one, these are all your employees, right? These are all your employees. But number one, based on personal relationship. When you are communicating with your secretary and you have a personal relationship also with her, they must be, or with him, you must tailor a communication so that the person knows when you are relating to them at a personal level and you are relating to them at a work level. Number two, based on hierarchy. The way you communicate to your secretary cannot be the same way you communicate to your superiors. Even the way you tone your voice cannot be the same. Even the language you use when you're writing a letter or email cannot be the same. So you must understand on that. So I said you must look at your personal relationship. You must look also on hierarchy. Lastly, on how you tailor your communication, it's based on environment. Based in environment. What communication, how do you use effectively your communication in that environment? For example, if I am working with academics, all of them academics, the way I would relate my information will be at a very high level of mind provoking and allowing them to think beyond. But in the same sense, if I say I am working with a group that is a mixed group, I must be able to relate with the environment so they can appreciate. But furthermore, understand these three things I've given you. And the personal relationship, hierarchy, and environment. Very key. These are bonuses that you don't find usually in my notes when we drop the notes down. Okay, so don't forget to have this understanding. Number two, we're talking about essentials of communication, active listening. Active listening. I've got 10 minutes to go or less. Active listening. Effective leaders know when they need to talk. And more importantly, when they need to listen. Remember, in communication, as a leader, you are talking. You're talking via either print media, via airwaves, all those types of communication we spoke with at the beginning, right? The job of a leader is always to communicate. So as a leader, you're always talking. You have to be talking. If you're not talking, you're not leading. Understand? But something most importantly, a leader must develop an ear. He must be an active listener. So it must be active listening. So a leader must know when to talk, and a leader must know when to listen. This shows that you care by asking for employees' opinions, ideas, and feedback. Have that interactions. Let them give you, let your workers give you suggestions. And it doesn't mean when a leader, when your workers are suggesting to you, it does not mean they're dictating you, but it shows that you value them. Let them bring out opinion, let them bring out ideas, and let them give feedback, even your customers. So when you sell tomatoes, when people buy the first time, ask them to give you feedback next time. It shows leadership. It will help you to improve. And when they do share, actively engage in conversations. Have conversations with your workers. Have conversations with your customers. Don't just be quiet in your shop as a leader or as a shop owner. Keep talking so that people can talk back. Then pose questions. Now, when you pose questions as a leader, you must also learn to give what we call open-ended questions. Questions that can lead to your people to open up more, so that you can get to the root of what you're trying to establish. Invite open-ended questions. Remember, we invite them to elaborate. And when they are elaborating, you take notes. Now, in taking notes, doesn't mean, wait, let me pick a pen and write what you're saying. No. When you say take notes, master certain keywords and go back home and write them down and see how you can improve. It's important to stay in the moment and avoid interruption. So active listening, allow them to speak and listen. Nod, discuss. Okay, yeah. Really? So when you are doing such kind of, when you are doing such kind of things, you are motivating the person to pour out more. And the more they pour out, the more you get to what you want to get. So as a leader, be an active listener. Then keep your focus on the employee and what it is they are saying. So be attentive, be an active listener. They are talking, you are sleeping. No, they are talking, you are sitting. Okay. Yeah. Your eyes are focused on them. And when your eyes are focused on them, you see they pour more. But not when you're, talk, yeah. Have you finished? Zambian, like in Zambia, when a woman is a boss, then can I help you? Yes, go ahead. I visited one government worker, she's a permanent secretary. Yes, go ahead. How can I help you? Be fast. We were going for a board meeting. Be fast. We are going. No. In business, we don't work like that. Remember the difference in a government hospital and a private hospital. In a government hospital, you have got patients. The people that come there are called patients. So the nurses shout, hey, push that wheelchair. Hey, why are you talking to me? Hey, shut up. That's a government hospital. But in a private hospital, the same nurse was shouting. When they go to private hospital, hello, ma'am, how can we help you? Yes, what's been? Oh, sorry. I'll help you to push the wheelchair. Why? Because in a private hospital, we don't have patients. We have clients. We have clients. So people that are bringing money to you They are your clients. Treat them well. Listen to them. If you want to see, if you want to see your business grow, develop that. It is called a rapport. Develop a rapport system of communication so that your business can grow. You know, I was working in Zambia last week. Is it last week? Yes, it could be last week or the week before last. And I went to a market. And, you know, I'm a street boy. And when I'm in the market, nobody knows me. So I'm walking and I see these boys are calling for clients to buy. Come and buy, come and buy, come and buy. Then the other one is saying, if you don't buy, we are going to pickpocket you. If you don't buy, we are going to search you. You understand? So you you understand that these guys, they use humor to get their attention. So as a leader, sometimes smile. Even when business is going down, put up a face. You know, women, there's something that they use. My wife does that. Whenever before she does something, she puts what they call makeup, you know. That thing, that word called makeup, it simply means that that's not the real thing, but they just put their face, you know, they just put. So when you go to business, dress like you are doing business. Put up your makeup. You know why the word makeup, it's not real. You're just making it up. So make it up, man. Make it up, because this is business. You want to exhibit your leadership to your clientele. So you cannot afford. So be an active listener. Be an active listener. Listen. Write this one down. Listen to your clients. Listen attentively, even to the unspoken words. Listen attentively, even to the unspoken word. To achieve that, you also need to eliminate distractions, including constant pings on your cell phone or checking incoming calls. Imagine, I'm busy. Yeah. Yes, go ahead. I'm listening. Don't think I'm not listening. I'm following. Yes, sir. Yeah. Yeah, Mandini, my phone, yeah. You know, that's how you say inside. Yeah, my phone, yeah. I'm even failing to follow. Guys, as leaders, you know, I told my dear sister, Madam Chama, she's the director at Swain, and I said to her when I was doing the session, the live session, and the secretary kept on coming to whisper to her, said, the next time, let's develop a system. When Madam Chama, she's in the office, nobody should enter. When she's attending to a lesson, nobody should disturb because she's a CEO. But after that, she's able to concentrate. Okay, so let's move forward. Let's move forward. I hope you guys are learning something. Number 3, in communication, very key is transparency. Wow, my time is flying fast. I think I'm spending much time to give you examples. Okay, transparency. In a survey by the American Management Association, more than a third of senior managers, executives, and employees said they hardly ever know what's going on in their organization. Now, remember, in Zambia, a president came up with a statement, I think it was last year or the other year, when the president made a statement to say, the civil servants were doing something different from what he was giving instructions. What does that mean? That shows there was a communication breakdown. Because it simply means that you are the CEO, you are far seated in heavenly places, and the workers are low down there on the earth. So when your workers are so down and you are too high, you will hardly ever know what's happening in your business. One day you will wake up, your business is shut down. One day you will wake up, your country has collapsed. One day you will wake up, your business is no more there. You can be a farm manager, a farm owner, and you have just entrusted your farm manager to go to the farm. You sit in the office, you only talk. You have never smelled fertilizer. You have never smelled the soil. You have never smelled, if you're doing cows, you have never smelled cow dung. You have never smelled the urine of the goats, if you're doing goats. But you are busy looking for buyers. One day, your business will collapse. Why? Because you were seated far above. So many CEOs and senior managers and executives, they hardly know what's going on. So how do we break that? Transparency. Transparency simply means being in a glass office. What does that mean? Be in a glass office as a CEO. It simply means you are able to see every corner of your business, how it's growing, how it's improving, and what it can be done on it. So sometimes go to the farm, do the things together with them, smell the fertilizer, and see what's happening. Okay. Transparency can go a long way by breaking down that communication barrier. So communication barrier is broken by transparency. By speaking openly about the company goals, opportunities, and challenges, leaders can build trust amongst their team and foster an environment where employees feel empowered to share their ideas and collaborate. Just acknowledging mistakes can encourage, just acknowledging mistakes can, just acknowledging mistakes can encourage experimentation and create a safe space for active problem solving. Just acknowledging as a leader, guys, I think here we have messed up. What do we need to do? You see your people coming to you. Number 4, clarity. As a leader, when communication with employees, speak in specifics. When communicating with employees, speak in specifics. Listen to this. In your conversation as a leader, be direct. If you're writing down, write these 3 words. In your conversation as a leader, be direct, accurate, clear. Be clear, accurate, and direct. Clear, accurate, and direct. Go direct to the point. Be specific. It will help you achieve your goal. Define the desired results of a project or strategic initiative and be clear about what you want to see achieved by the end of each milestone. All right. So understand that. I'll send you notes at the end. Okay. Number 5, ability to ask open-ended questions. Remember, I spoke about this again. But I want you to understand this, that ability to ask open-ended question is very key. If you want to understand employees' motivation, thoughts, and goals better, practice asking open-ended questions. Jennifer Currency, this is a person, Jennifer Currency, president of a consulting firm, the Currency Group, said to the Society of Human Resource Management to use the acronym TED, T-E-D. Now, most of you have heard of the word TED Talks. Everybody says TED Talks. They are giving a TED Talk. They're giving a TED Talks. So it came from this lady by the name of Jennifer Currency. Now, TED simply means tell me more. Explain what you mean. Define that term or concept for me. It's called TED. So understand on the importance of open-ended questions. Well, number 6, empathy. And I will be quick now. Empathy. There is a reason empathy has been ranked the top leadership skill needed for success. The better you get at acknowledging and understanding employees' feelings and experiences, the more heard and valued they feel. So when people have got a funeral in your company, listen to them, sympathize with them, bring them and talk to them. One of my friends is a pastor. He gave me a very interesting experience. He's a South African pastor, and he was pastoring a church that is headed by a Nigerian pastor in Johannesburg or in Gauteng. So there was a situation that the brother of this South African pastor died. And so he went to get permission from his general overseer to attend the funeral. He said, you know, they call pastor daddy, you know, it's this Nigerian thing. So he went to this pastor and says, Daddy, I've got a funeral. First he said, his brother was sick. So he said, my brother is sick. And then later on in the day, he went to him and said, Daddy, I've got a funeral. I need to travel. My brother has died. So the general overseer said, oh, that's sad. Where is that? He said, no, in KwaZulu-Natal. So you need to travel from Joburg. He said, yes. Then the pastor answered him. He was a junior pastor. They were all pastors. But the senior pastor was a Nigerian and the junior pastor was a South African. So the senior pastor said, hey, my son, you see, we are here in Johannesburg to work. We are here to save the living. We are here to save people. We are in Joburg for work. And then he asked him, for us or for me, when our brothers die, have you ever seen us leave and go to Nigeria and attend a funeral for our brother? We wait for 1 year. And he's telling him, we wait for 1 year to gather enough resources. Then we go for burial. So you can't go. Sit. Hey, now with that, there was a cultural problem. There was a misunderstanding because in Southern Africa, funerals are considered differently than in West Africa. So that pastor decided to run away and left that church and went to bury his brother. When he came back, he was given a discipline. He had to take the discipline, but who was wrong there? The senior pastor did not use empathetic understanding. Hence, he ended up losing a human resource, which was the pastor was working so hard, okay? So be empathetic as a leader. Number 7, open body language. Communication isn't what you say. It is how you carry yourself. 93% of communication impact comes from non-verbal cues. According to executive coach Dylan Priest says, to ensure you are conveying the right message, focus on your body language. Focus on your body language. Very important. Okay, a quick one. Receiving and implementing feedback. Very important. Number 8, receiving and implementing feedback. Asking for feedback from your team can not only help you grow as a leader, but builds trust among your colleagues It's critical, though, that you do not listen to, it's critical, though, that you do not just listen to feedback. You also need to act on it. All right. So, guys, for today, I will stop there, and we will try by all means to bring back the session, even to those that did not attend the morning session. The reason why I had to come with the morning as well is also to do the recording for the other sessions that we have and the other class. So we have gone a bit long. As you can see, we started at 7:30 and now this is almost 8:30. So we had to go for 1 hour non-stop. And I hope that you have picked up something. Let me see if you are still there. Let me talk to Mrs. You can unmute yourself, Miss Walia Chama and Miss Mubanga. Let me hear if you are still there. Good evening. Good morning, sorry. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning, Doc. Good morning. How are you?
Oh, very well. Are you in your office?
Yes, yes.
Oh, wonderful. I hope that you have been able to pick up 1 or 2 points whilst you are working, and we had to run through this morning.
Yes, yes. It's been a wonderful session, actually. Excellent.
Oh,
I've enjoyed it.
Thank you.
Thank
Did,
you.
did you do your assignment?
I'll post it today.
Okay, send it direct to my WhatsApp, to the WhatsApp number for the Institute, the plus 23. I think the one that we used to send, just go on the number, is +2.
The number.
Yes,
Yes.
+27, yes.
Yes.
So
Good morning, Doc.
send that. Madam Chama, good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm okay. I'm okay. I hope that you have picked up something this morning.
Yes, I have a lot, actually.
Really? Even though you
just that I joined in late, but at least whatever I've listened to,
yes,
I'm grateful that I did log on.
Okay, thank you. So what we are going to do is, and Madam Chama, did you send us your assignment?
No, I didn't.
But you got your assignment.
I've got a lot of catching up to do, Doc. I'm actually in the middle of marrying off my daughter this Saturday.
Oh, no.
So yes, I'm actually just multitasking.
Wow. Yeah, no, it's. Are you doing the traditional? What you call it? There's a famous thing that has come in the traditional wedding.
We featured last night.
Oh, okay.
We featured last night, so I can barely keep awake. But there's so many other things for me to prepare for Saturday.
Okay.
The wedding is tomorrow.
It's a big day. Okay.
Yeah.
No, what we will pardon you for being late. I'll just give you a bit of a break to finish this weekend, and then, but please, next week we would want you to give us the assignments. What I'm going to do, and I'm going to say this to all the leaders. I'll post it up. We will do sessions throughout. What you can do, you can be even in the car, you are moving. We'll try to do even during the day so that we can catch up. You can be even in the car, you just put it on video off, and you put the voice, the audio. You can listen to the session, then, so that by the time you get the notes, you have a clear understanding. Because for us to wait for the evenings, we are always been disrupted, and this has not been to our wish, because like I said at the beginning of the sessions, that it's been hard because the link has to come from Pretoria to be sent to KwaZulu-Natal, and we are recording, like, as you can see, when we record, sometimes the files are so big for us to just send them through. But if you listen, then the notes are easily captured and you can easily understand. But I want to appreciate you once again and say thank you very much. Work well and enjoy your day. Have a wonderful morning. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Have a
Thank you.
day.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
Ellen, good morning.